Good morning, dear students of class 7. I hope all of you are fine. Students, today we'll be starting with the new topic of our literature section, that is the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. Joseph Rudyard Kipling was an English journalist, short story writer, poet, and novelist. He was born in India, which inspired much of his work. The poem If is a poem which contains advice from a father to a son on how to grow up to be a better person and a true man. He reminds his son that he will be a man if he can hold on to his values and not to be swayed by others. The poet emphasizes the view that a man must be humble, patient, rational, truthful, dependable, and persevering. So let's start with the explanation of the poem stanza wise. Stanza 1. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. In this stanza, the new words are make allowance, to accept something even if it's problematic, and doubt in this stanza means the feeling of not trusting yourself or someone or something else. In the first 4 lines of this stanza, the poet tells his son that he should keep calm and patient when others do fail and put the blames on him. He should trust himself when all others doubt him. However, he should also make a room for their doubts and try understanding what made them doubt him. In the 5th line, the poet says that one should wait patiently for success and should never be tired by waiting, because success comes to those who work hard and remain patient. Next, the poet tells his son that other people will often tell him lies. However, he should never lie in his life and always remain truthful. Others will hate him, but he should never hate them back and rather spread love. In the last line, the poet advises him to neither look too good nor talk too wise, because if he acts upon all the advices the poet gave above, he will look too good and wise among the common people. The poetic devices used in this stanza are repetition. In this stanza, the word if is repeated again and again. Assonance. Students, assonance is the repetition of the vowels. In this stanza, it is look too good. The vowel O is repeated here. And the third poetic device used here is paradox. Paradox is used in the line, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. Paradox means when one statement is contradicted by the other statement. Let's move on to the stanza 2. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to, broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. In this stanza, the new words used are impostor. Impostor is a fake person who pretends to be someone they are not. Knaves, a dishonest man. Triumph means a great victory or achievement. And stoop means to bend one's head or body forward and downwards. In this stanza, the poet says that he should dream big, but never make dreams his master. Similarly, he should think good about goals, future, etc., but never make thoughts his aim. Because in order to succeed in life, one has to work hard. Mere dreaming and thinking will never lead one to the path of success. Hence, one should dream of goals and think of a better future, and at the same time should work hard to achieve them. In the third line, the poet says that one should meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. Students note that the first letters triumph and disaster have been capitalized. These are the two extremes of life. The poet calls them impostors, that is, fake. They either make one extremely happy or miserable. However, they are not long lasting and hence one should not take them seriously. In the fifth line, the poet says that one should only speak the truth and should also have the courage to face it when it is misused by others to mislead others. He should also have the courage to see the things built by him in broken conditions and try rebuilding them with worn out tools. That is, with what energy or skills you have. So, in this stanza, the poetic devices used are metaphor. Metaphors are implied comparison between two different things where there is a point of similarity. Metaphor here is used in the line, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. In these lines, triumph and disaster are compared to impostors. Success and failure both can deceive us, as we may become too happy or too sad and forget our duty. Students, moreover, triumph and disaster both are transitory. In most cases, they don't last long. Happiness comes after sorrow and vice versa. But we are often deceived in thinking them to be permanent. Next poetic device used in this stanza is personification. Personification is attributing human characteristics to non-human objects. Firstly, it is used in the line, if you can dream and not make dreams your master. In this line, the poet urges us not to allow our dreams to act like our master and control us. Our dreams acting like a master is a personification of dream. Secondly, it is used in the line, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. Triumph and disaster here attributed human characteristics and called impostors or deceivers who can befool us. Now students, moving on to stanza 3, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. New words used in this stanza are sinew. It is a piece of tough fibrous tissue uniting muscle to bone. And in this stanza, the will is a reference to the willpower. The poet says that one should make one heap of all the achievements one has made and then take big risks. In other words, one should never be afraid of doing things that can either make one successful or ruin everything. If one fails after taking risks, he should start again from the beginning without thinking or saying anything about the loss to others. One should try again and again until one succeeds. In the fifth line, the poet says that one should use his heart and nerve and sinew, that is, courage when one becomes tired or fails. When nothing is left in life, one should have strong willpower which may encourage one to hold on. The poetic devices used in this stanza are personification. Personification here is used in the line, accept the will which says to them, hold on. Students' will or human resolution is personified as it can encourage us not to give up. Secondly, symbolism is used. Now, symbolism, it is the use of language in a way that something has a symbolic or deeper meaning other than the apparent one. In this stanza, it is used in the line, and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss. Pitch and toss is a game, but here it is a symbol for big risks in life. The poet advises us to take bigger risks if it is for good reasons. Students, moving on to stanza 4. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor living friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you will be a man, my son. In this stanza, new words are virtue, which means poverty and goodness, and foes. It means an enemy or opponent. The poet in this stanza says that while among the common people, one must keep his virtues and never behave like them, while among the kings, that is the big personalities, one should never have pride and ego. In other words, the poet is saying that when one is poor, he should keep his virtues, and when he becomes rich, he should never have ego. Next, the poet says that neither foes means enemies nor living friends can hurt one because of what principles and idols one hold. One should never give up then. People will often remain dependent on him, but he should never allow them to remain completely dependent on him. The poet may also be saying that one should never give other too much importance, or else he will get emotionally attached to them, which will hurt him in the future. In the next line, the poet talks about the importance of time. According to him, time is precious and will never come back. Hence, one should start utilizing each and every second of life. In the final two lines, the poet tells his son, if he acts upon all the advice he gave above, he will be able to achieve whatever he likes, and he will be a man, that is, a true human. Now, the poetic devices used in this stanza are personification, and personification here is used in the lines, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch. In this line, crowds symbolizes the common people, kings symbolizes important persons, and common touch refers to humbleness. Again, symbolism is used in the line, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. In this line is not to be taken literally. Kipling means to say that if we possess those good qualities, we would find ourselves to be highly successful in life and winning. Students, now personification here is used in the line, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run. Here, minute or time is personified by the term unforgiving. Time waits for none. The poet says it does not forgive those who waste their valuable time. Forgiving is a human quality attributed to minute here. I hope the explanation of the stanzas is clear. Now, to give a quick recap, life only has meaning when it has been lived meaningfully, and our identity as human beings can only be ratified in the real sense of the term if we live virtuously by following a set of high moral codes and conduct. Rudyard Kipling's If is a blueprint for all those qualities and virtues which we must inculcate within us to be able to call ourselves complete human beings, and also in order to attain true success in life. In the course of 32 lines of the poem, Kipling advocates the virtues of patience, integrity, modesty, control, tolerance, determination, confidence, for a few to cite. This poem is like a rule book to perfect the art of living and being human being. I hope everything is very clear to you. Thank you.